Hello, this is your captain speaking. Welcome back to Mother Invasion from the Unknown. I did see your message there, Talon. Is it like an old MS-DOS game? I think I looked up a video and I saw what it, think I see or see what it is. I might have to watch a video about it a little later, but yeah. But anyways, I'm going to read off the new trivia question, or the week's trivia question, and get back to gaming. Not sure how much longer I have for this one. I think I'm getting closer to the end, but I think I still have 2 or 3 melodies to get. And I gotta figure out how the heck I'm supposed to beat that dragon. So, oh yeah, it was like, it was definitely looked like an old one. I thought it was like an old Atari game, too. But, yeah, I have never actually heard of that one. Alright, for this week's question, Star Trek Enterprise was canceled after 4 seasons due to low ratings, despite the final season being considered a huge improvement. A potential 5th season would have seen the appearance of a feline alien race, how fitting, that was introduced in the original animated series. The episode this race was introduced in was actually an adaptation of a short story that was part of a larger literary universe. What is the name of this race? Maybe. All right. Shouldn't I be getting music? Oh wait, maybe that's what I did. I think I muted it last time so I could do my outro. Which was my recent... Oh yeah, here. Okay, not sure if I read this one out. So... Inside, there was quite an uproar. The cramped venue was filled with spectators who were all dancing to the rhythm of the blues song being performed by a black singer up on the stage. The sounds of whistling, party poppers, and all sorts of shouting flew through the air all around us. It was unbelievably loud. I probably should specify where we left off. I do have it in the go live notification, but at some point we crashed a tank, and the guy who the tank belonged to, or the other way around, the guy who owned the tank is kind of mad at us. I think he might be even kind of murderous, which is really kind of scary considering we're just a bunch of kids. But then again, this is an Earthbound game, so probably not much of a surprise that someone's going to bid overboard. So loud, in fact, that no one noticed the sound of a gunshot that rang out behind us. Yep. We had no doubts that the man who offered the plane rides in the desert had just shot the man with the tattoo who guarded the entrance. Jeez. In an effort to get as far away from the door as possible, we pushed our way through the crowd and headed toward the stage. And as soon as we got all the way to the front row, we emerged from the crowd and found ourselves standing in front of the black man singing into the microphone. The performance ended right there, and the man's deep voice suddenly rang out through the now silent live house. Hey kiddos, you're not getting out of here until you sing us some blues. Please tell me they're not gonna make me sing. Well, of course we're gonna sing. I hope I don't have to sing. I turned and faced folks packed tight into the seats of the venue. Okay. I set out on a journey to fight bad guys from space. Then the man beside me struck an intense chord on his guitar. Okay. From the time I left Padunk, it's been a wild goose chase. The bass player joined in now, too. Wonder if anyone's actually turned this into a song. We borrowed a tank from a man with a gun. More intense chords from the guitar. Smash it up in the desert, now we're on the run. Long wavering chord. Then an all-out performance began and we gripped our microphones passionately. We ducked into the live house and with a man in pursuit. The weight of the world's on our shoulders and everything to lose. That's why we sang the Padunk Blues. And so, man, that's all they're singing? I mean, thank goodness, but... And suddenly the audience burst into applause. Applause? I don't know what I was going for. The entire venue was going wild. To our surprise, even the plane guy from the desert was whistling along and having a good time. Well, in that case, we had no choice but to see the whole thing through. We've been to Magic Hat, we've met with the Queen. But the end of this mystery has yet to be seen. We're not quitting this journey, and we're not going to lose. But the fighting continues. That's why we're singing the Padunk Blues. As we finished the song, the crowd applauded and cheered some more. The venue was an absolute frenzy. We shook a few hands and then we pushed our way through the crowd towards the exit beside the stage. I just remembered, I was like, why isn't Jeff joining in? Oh yeah, he's a dog. Wonder if that's ever going to get solved. But there was a certain someone we'd forgotten. The plane guy from the desert seemed to suddenly remember his mission, and he tried to follow us through the stage side exit. But just as he did, the black singer grabbed him firmly by the shoulder, and in a very deep voice of his, he said, "You're not going anywhere, friend, until you sing us some blues." Okay, we met out with our lives. What do we do now? Quick save, that's what we do. Okay, so... he might have done something for Star Trek. That's all I'm gonna say. Head for the ocean, I think is what we can do. All we can really do. No, we've done this already, haven't we? Path along the shore seemed to go on forever. We continued to walk along the embankment until eventually we spotted a tall concrete building. Yeah, we've done this. No, well, that's all we can do is leave. Well, it was about time we said goodbye to the town of LA. Let's head to Youngtown, because I know there's something we gotta do there. Because we couldn't get into Youngtown because there was a alligator blocking the way. Which is weird, because this takes place in Maine. Two hours later, we found ourselves walking down a narrow path through the woods. We could see a little village of Youngstown in the distance, and beyond it, hazy blue mountain range. Oh. Yeah, there's Lloyd. I think we've done this already. Quick save. Let's try. Well, both of them are zapping them. Try Thunder. Alright, we're gonna quick load. We're gonna try beam. Oh, yeah. And then, what do you know, the alligator's body began to shrink, and in the end it was transformed back into a little green lizard, which scurried up into the woods. That explains why there's an alligator up in Maine. I swore I tried that last time. Or did Anna not have PK Beam? Anna turned to face me with a proud look on her face. So, what do you think of my psychic abilities, huh? Sounds kind of snotty. Lost, okay. 15, reach level 5. Gone up by 50. We walked in out of the forest, and we could see Youngstown ahead. Up ahead. As we entered the town, we were surprised to find that no one there was... Or that there was no one, absolutely no one, to be seen. A lonely welcome sign twirled in the wind at the gas station nearby. And through wide open doors of the church, we could see rows of empty pews. The drive-in movie theater, the local McDonald's, there wasn't a soul to be found anywhere. As we walked down the town's main road, each traffic light blinked in silence. There were many cars parked by the side of the road and right in the middle of the street, but there was no signs of the drivers. After a while, we spotted a 5-story building in the distance up ahead, the Youngstown Hotel. Let's rest. We entered the hotel and we could see a boy about 10 years old sitting behind the check-in counter. We walked over to him. Hey, where's your mama? Or hey, are your mama and papa around? The boy shook his head. They're gone. So I have to take care of the hotel for them. So, sir, madam, will you be staying with us tonight? A room is $80 per night. I don't even think I have that much. You sure are working hard. I only have $5. What'll happen if I can't afford to stay tonight? We decided not to stay tonight, but tried to talk to the boy anyway instead. Hey, so where did your parents go anyway? I don't know. I just don't know. For some reason, he could only shake his head sadly. Without knowing what else we could do, the three of us left a hotel. Find someone to talk to. We walked all over town to see if we could find anyone. When we finally did, it was inside the school gymnasium at Youngtown Junior High. We went inside, and we were surprised to find a large group huddled together right in the middle of the gym. All of them were children. There wasn't a single adult anywhere to be found. We decided to address the tallest one there, a boy wearing jeans. My name is Fred. Our parents were abducted by some sort of flying ship. It was all lit up. I think it definitely came from outer space. Fred pointed at the large skylight in the ceiling. Beyond it, we could see the blue sky above. It's going to be okay. I'm sure your parents will come back home soon. We did our best to cheer the kids up, and then we left the gym. Okay, wait, decline? When I woke up this morning, Mama and Papa were gone. Me and my little brother Jimmy came here, and that's where we found everyone else. We're really scared. As soon as the girl finished talking, she began to sob loudly. Anna smiled gently and did her best to comfort her. There, what's your name? My name is Millie. I'm looking for my big sister and my mama and papa. We thought we heard their voices coming from Mount Itoi. I see. Millie, I promise we'll bring your mama and all the others back home safe, okay? Anna held the little girl tight, and in that moment I couldn't help but notice how mature she seemed. Leave town, that's the only option we have. A short while later, we had left the streets of Youngstown behind. The sight of the eerie, desolate roads and the feel of the cold winds that blew down them would remain in our memories for quite some time. Well, I know we got the melody in the desert. We were already at... I'm pretty sure that's referring to LA. It's like I missed one. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Because we got the one from the Canary. We got the one from the Cactus. I think we got the one from the Doll. I think that was the very first one. No, the piano. We got the one from the piano. There's the singing monkey from the original game, but I don't think the zoo is in this game. And my guess, the last one will be, if it's like the game, we'll encounter the giant robot named Eve, and she'll be the one who has the last melody. So... I think go back to Magicant. I'm gonna go to the city first And then I'll go back to Magicant. Quick save. I read this before, so... So for the shopping center. $19. Yay! That doesn't help me much. Only have 24. Be nice if I could see the inventory. Sell your items. I'm gonna hang on to the asthma spray. No, I already did the strawberry tofu. I kind of think I should try getting all the items. So I think... I have the rope, frying pan, baseball bat, boomerang, asthma spray. Do I still have the boomerang? Yeah, I do. So I need slingshot, air gun, and a stun gun. So I need like $200 more. No, I think I read this before. I think walking along the shore will get us to that building. Yeah, we've been there. Let's go to Magicant. Oh, that's fine. Okay, I think I'll read this. Come on now, you can't just ask the same riddle again. Even you don't know the answer to that one, old man. You're right, I don't know the answer either. Wham! Once again, we easily... Poor guy. Such a useless guard. We easily knocked the guard to the floor and stepped right over his body to continue towards the castle. Once again, he was back on his feet almost instantly, dashed ahead of us, holding his arms out, attempt to stop us. And we knock him out again. Okay, good. We already got the stuff in there. I don't think there's anything in the valley going back inside, so let's leave. Oh, crap. I feel like I should have written this down. And we'll save. Yes. Return. East. Oh, yeah. We probably wouldn't find a way to turn Lloyd back into a human by staying around here, so let's head out. Out into the big, wide world. Head for Mount Itoi. At last we could see a distant silhouette of a tall mountain. It was Mount Itoi. To get there, we have to pass through a long stretch of desert. But we were quickly running out of energy. Our feet shuffled heavily through the sand. The blazing sun made our minds hazy. Oh, that's right. We had a magic herb. Ah, cat. From what I heard, this herb is supposed to be able to increase your strength by an incredible amount. I quickly took a handful of it on my backpack, doled it out some to Anna and Lloyd, and then stuffed a bit of it into my mouth. Cat, you're being a pest. Ugh, it's so bitter. But I forced myself to swallow it, and what do you know? I could feel new strength welling up from somewhere deep inside me. I suddenly felt confident that I could make it across the desert after all. That or I'm high. You guys feeling okay? Woof, woof. Anna nodded in reply. Alright then, let's head out. We trudged across the desert under the blazing sun for hours and hours, keeping the distant peak of Mount Itoi in our sights. Its ragged summit pierced the sky, shrouded in those eerie black clouds. Well, we're finally here. Let's go. We stepped into the forest sprawling near the foot of the mountain, and just as we did, there was a sudden, violent rushing in the brush ahead, and some sort of giant brown monster appeared. It's a bear, or it could be Bigfoot. Oh, oh crap, these things suck. It looked like a massive lizard with a pair of wings on its back and a single horn on the top of its head. It opened its mouth wide, and we could see rows of teeth like a sharp, jagged saw. Lloyd fearfully took a step back. Quick save. Try to fight. Stomping through the underbrush, the lizard monster was coming right for us. Its eyes shone wickedly as if it had no intention of letting us escape. That's a gargoyle! It looks like a monster I saw in a movie once. You gotta be kidding me. She wants to talk about movies at a time like this? The aliens must have modeled it after that monster. What was she talking about? Before I had time to respond, the gargoyle monster came dashing toward us. I knew I had plenty of psi left. I stepped in front of Anna, faced the charging monster, and unleashed a powerful blast of PK thunder. In an instant, the air around us was filled with blinding bolts of lightning. My aim was perfect. The bolt shot straight through the gargoyle, and in the very next moment, the monster was charred black. You lost 40 psychic points. You now have 10 PP. 15 points of experience. The three of us walked on in high spirits. Before long, we made it through the forest at the base of the mountain. The terrain became rockier and more barren. This desolate landscape would continue on all the way to Mount Itoi itself. Halfway through it, we came upon a crudely built cabin. We let ourselves in. It was small, but it was fully stocked with emergency provisions, and there were beds. We were very grateful for this. We helped ourselves to all of it. While I got the fire going, and I got the food ready. Watching her as she worked, I couldn't help but think she looked pretty cute, and I felt a little flustered. I guess if I was being honest, my feeling for Anna may have been a bit more complicated than I thought. Probably should note that in this game, all three main characters are related in some way. I think they're actually related distantly, but it's still kind of weird. Oh, there we go. But according to my great-grandpa's diary, me, Anna, and Lloyd, too, were all related by blood. In other words, they were like a brother and sister to me. I said that wrong. I don't care. She was strong-willed. Sometimes we got into fights here and there, but I knew Anna was very kind and very wonderful. I'd be too embarrassed to say so out loud, though. When we finished eating, Lloyd flopped down on the floor and fell asleep almost instantly. I guess he was pretty tired out. I sat on the bed and Anna got into the chair by the window. Restored to the maximum. 50. A very old song, a cover of Wonderful World by Greg Chapman, played cozily from the radio we'd found in the cabin. This feels nice. I really like this song. Yeah, me too. We looked at each other and we stood up. We put our hands together. We began to dance, keeping time with the song's rhythm. Anna smiled warmly. Doug? I looked at her. I'm sorry for all the mean things I've said. I think I might be too annoying sometimes. I smiled back at her. It's alright. Thank you. That's still kind of awkward, but yeah. Then suddenly, Lloyd woke from his sleep and ran to the window, barking his head off. The ground began to tremble. The whole cabin shook, and there was a sound of a dull crash from outside. We turned around in surprise, and suddenly, the roof caved in. Along with the collapsing wooden beams, there came a giant black arm. It was as wide as a barrel. Cat. Hopefully I'm still... Okay, Cat did not mute me. And made entirely of metal. We had yet another new enemy to face. Okay, normally... this would be a hopeless fight, and then Lloyd would show up with the tank. Except one problem. Lloyd is a dog at the moment. Cat, you're being a pest. You're being a cute pest, but you're being a pest. Oh, excuse me. Try to fight, well, I think we have to fight. Quick save. Whoosh! Humming through the air as it approached, a giant arm tried to grab us. We had no time to brace ourselves for a fight, and the best we could do is jump desperately to the side to avoid it. But my luck was running out. I fell to the floor with a thud, and that dark black arm continued to reach down into the cabin. As if it had eyes at the tips of its fingers, it came straight for me as I lay there on the ground, and it scooped me up. Doug! Anna let out a horrible, heartbroken scream. Oh, jeez. With a terrible amount of strength, the thing had crushed me before I even had time to worry about it. Fatality. Okay, running might be the better option. We fled desperately from the cabin, and just as we did, the whole thing collapsed with an awful sound. I looked up and I could see that the thing that had been grabbing for us was a giant robot. It had barrel-shaped torso, 2 long giant arms, and 2 long giant legs. And it had 2 red glowing eyes set in the cylindrical head. Wow, I butchered that. Arf! Lloyd turned and fled, yelping the entire way, and we hurried after him. We must have looked like ants to this thing. I was sure that it would catch up to us in no time. Oh, maybe we'll run into Eve. The 3 of us ran as fast as we could, and then we ducked behind a boulder. But the robot seemed to know where we had gone. It grabbed the boulder and, using its arms like a nutcracker, crushed it into pieces. We were sent flying by the impact, and we hit the ground hard, but luckily for us, it seemed like the robot thought we were dead. With heavy footsteps, it wandered off to who knows where. Okay, that's a good sound. Or, that sound, yeah. As my consciousness faded, I could hear the sound of an engine approaching. Then the engine sound was cut off, and someone walked over and stood in front of us. Damn! Was I too late? It was a man's voice, and it sounded very familiar. Cat, you're being a pest! But I couldn't think of where I heard that voice before, and my mind finally let itself slip into darkness. Oh, Lloyd's back to normal finally. I came to my senses with a start, and saw that Lloyd was looking down at me. Wait, Lloyd? I sat up instantly. Lloyd, it's you! And so it was. Standing before me was Lloyd, glasses and all, in his human form again. He was no longer the fluffy St. Bernard who had journeyed with us all the way. I pinched my own cheek to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Ah, so you're awake now. Are you, Doug? Cat! At the sound of the voice, I turned around. There, sitting beside Anna, was... I couldn't help but jump to my feet. Papa! Papa! It's you! I took a look around and realized that we were inside a 4-wheel drive Ford. My Papa's beloved SUV. Papa was in the driver's seat. Anna was in the passenger seat. Me and Lloyd were in the back. I should have come sooner. That R7038 robot was the strongest fighter our enemies have designed. But I'm glad. I'm glad I finally got to meet up with you. But what about Lloyd? Did you turn him back into a human, Papa? Mm-hmm. Your Papa has powers just like you do, Doug. But I can't do much with mine aside from seeing the future and using PK healing. That's how I was able to change Lloyd back. I looked at Lloyd again. Yeah, a human face definitely suits him better, after all, I decided. So, Papa, will you be staying with us for the rest of the journey? His expression changed and he shook his head. No, Doug. You must fight on your own the rest of the way. I want to go with you, but this is something only 3 of you can do. For your Papa, this is more of a spiritual trial. But at least I can tell you where you should be heading. If you keep going north from here, you'll eventually come to a lake. That's where you need to go. Your final opponent is very close. Until you face him, try to conserve as much psi as you can. Save your true power for the very end. Soon we said our goodbyes and walked on across the rough and rocky earth. Just you wait, Papa. I'll show you I can see this through. And after a short while, we saw a tall boulder up ahead. And from behind it came that R7038 robot. It was back. Our pursuer found us again. What should we do? Run! The earth shook with every footfall as the robot came after us. We ran through a rocky, barren landscape until we came to the edge of a massive lake at the foot of the mountain. At the water's edge, there was a motorboat. We got into it hoping we could use it to escape, but no matter how many times we pulled the cord to start it, the engine wouldn't run at all. And as we struggled with it, the robot got closer by the second. We looked underneath the engine. We were surprised what we found. There were several exposed wires that had been cut. No wonder the engine wouldn't start. Lloyd, you're the only one who could fix this. Or, you are the only one who can fix something like this. Lloyd didn't even seem to hear me. He was frozen stiff, watching the approaching robot in terror. Lloyd, hurry! Lloyd! I slapped him. Ow, jeez, that's... Well, it seems a bit extreme, but okay. Slapped him across the face as hard as I could. Heavy tears began to cascade down his cheeks. I'm scared. I can't take any more of this. I'm scared too, and Anna's girl, and she's been fighting alongside us the whole time. So stop being so ridiculous. Now is the time to show your courage. You're a friend who has the same powers as we do. Suddenly, Lloyd's eyes met mine. Really? Do you think of me as a friend? Of course you're our friend. And friends fight together. What are you two doing? That thing's gonna catch up to us any second now. Lloyd climbed into the motorboat, and he had the hanging wires reattached in no time. He pulled the starter cord, and with a satisfying purr, the engine roared to life. Let's go, Anna. Climb in. We all got aboard, and the motorboard slid effortlessly across the water's surface. We looked back to check on the robot, which was now wading waist-deep in lake water. Apparently, the stubborn thing was going to keep chasing after us. I'm a little afraid right now that I reached a point of no return, and I'm going to get a bad ending because I am missing the song which the dragon had. I'm tired. When we looked across the lake, we saw that there was a steep cliff on the far side of the shore. There was no place to stop the boat and moor it. On top of that, our boat came to a sputtering halt right in the middle of the lake, as if it had run out of fuel. And the robot was steadily gaining on us, kicking up water as it went. Is this the end of us? I thought, just as I did, I heard a telepathic voice in our minds. Open the can of words, and the way will open for you. Okay, I gotta do this. Let's use the can of curse words. For a moment, we wondered whether we should open the can containing the words of love or one containing curse words. Well, what's that thing they always say? Open sesame? I decided we should probably go with the curse words. Yeah, I feel like this is not going to work. I pulled out the can of curse words out of my backpack and opened it. As soon as I did, a man's voice poured out into the air, spoken a language I couldn't understand at all. Oh boy, I don't know if I want to try pronouncing that. I know what it is. Yeah, I'm not pronouncing that. Sorry. And with that, we get water opens up and Cthulhu grabs us and brings us to our death. So, what did that do? For a short while, we waited, but nothing seemed to happen. The lake had gone eerily quiet. No, not quite. The R7038 robot was still heading through the water towards us, and suddenly leaped up beside us with a tremendous blast. It raised its massive arms in the air and smashed us to pieces, boat and all. I don't know. It would have been interesting if it ended up being the robot versus Cthulhu. I wonder if that was in the actual translate or actual game book, or did they just pick something that fit the situation better? Yeah, there we go. For a moment, we wondered which we should open, or whether we should open the can containing words of love or the one containing curse words. But in my mind, the choice was obvious. With no hesitation, I pulled off the lid of the can containing the words of love. Suddenly, the sounds of a harp being strummed gently poured out into the air around us, along with these words. All the world is one family. All of mankind are your brethren. What the hell was that? I looked down at an empty can in confusion, but suddenly the water beneath us began to churn with an eerie sloshing sound. The water to the right of the boat was rushing forward, and the water to the left of the boat was rushing backwards. In other words, well, you know what kind of situation we're in here, don't you? Yeah, our motorboat was caught in a giant whirlpool like a sea storm in an old legend, and we had no chance to escape. The whirlpool dragged us down to the bottom of the lake. I cried out as I came to my senses, and I found myself surrounded by metallic silver walls. I was lying on the ground in a room that felt very artificial and man-made. Anna and Lloyd had already regained consciousness. Oh, you are awake now. When I looked to see who spoke, I saw a man who seems familiar standing next to a robot that had to be at least 20 feet tall. The robot looked a lot like the one that had been attacking us, except it was only about 1/10 the size of that R7038. As for the man, he was wearing a white lab coat and... Oh, you're that strawberry tofu guy. I'm not that strawberry tofu guy. My name is Fogarty. F. Travis, the director of the Instant Voice Laboratory, was an alternate identity of mine. I am really a doctor of engineering at the Power Robotics Laboratory. My name is Dr. Raymond Fogarty. Here, in this secret laboratory under Itoi Lake, I conduct research into robotic engineering. It seemed to me that both laboratories were equally suspicious and strange, but I didn't say so out loud. Director Fogarty pointed to the robot standing beside. This robot here has been the subject of my studies for many years. It was recovered from a crashed UFO. Huh? So it's an alien robot? No wonder it looks so familiar then. That's right. At the request of the United States Army, I've been working with this robot for almost 20 years now. And I finally understand everything. This robot here, Eve, is her name, has been waiting for you to arrive. She has been programmed to fight alongside you. Doug, this robot is meant to be our ally. That must mean that there are two groups of aliens out there. A group that is causing so much chaos for us here on Earth, and a group that it intends to lend us their strength to fight back. The robot's eyes flickered and she began to walk towards us. Then, she held out her hand and offered it to me. That art looks awful familiar. I am happy to see you, Doug. I have been waiting for you waiting a long time for you. And now we must join forces in order to defeat Geeg. Or Gigu. I don't know what his name is either. That looks... There was, for Smash 4, the Wii U and 3DS version of the game. Or was it for Ultimate? I don't remember. No, it was for, this, the 3DS and, Wii U versions was the last one to have, trophies. But I think, like, you could take pictures, you can do art, and could do art. And for, like, an Earthbound themed one, or no, actually, yeah, Earthbound Beginnings themed one, there was a picture with, I think it had Ness in it, but it also had drawn picture of Eve. And I think this is the source of that picture, but I am not sure. So, it certainly looks like it. Anyways, let's just continue with the story. Geeg? Is that the name of our enemy? It is. Geeg, who has come from the stars. This is your enemy. And there is also Queen Mary. She is your ally. We were stunned. Queen Mary? If that was the case, then... As Queen Mary was on her way to this Earth, she met with an unfortunate accident. Oh! As Queen Mary was on her way to this Earth, she met with an unfortunate accident. She created the subspace of Magicant in order to keep herself hidden. But in the process, the Queen lost her memory. And the only ones who can restore it are the three of you. And that is how it was. And that is how it was. All the mysteries that we were starting to unravel. Geeg and Queen Mary had come from the same planet. One was our enemy, and the other was our ally. But why? Why was Queen Mary trying to help us? Well, let's get back up to the surface. Let's head to our final destination. To the peak of Mount Itoi. We boarded an elevator together with Eve to head back to the above ground. Dr. Fogarty waved gently, looking reluctant to say goodbye. The elevator brought us back to the middle of the desolate landscape, where the cabin had once been. A door had been designed as a boulder opened to let us out of the into the mountain air once again. And just then we felt the ground beneath us begin to quake beneath us, and that R7038 appeared from somewhere higher on the mountain. It had probably been waiting for us that whole time. Quick save. Leave it to Eve. Eve, what kind of weapons do you have? Hyper missiles and a laser beam. And then with a burst of flame from a booster on her back, Eve flew up into the sky. Compared to the R7038, Eve looked like a tiny mosquito as she whirled in circles around the enemy robot. Eve, use Thunderbolt! Have her use her missiles. Eve, Aim for his chest and fire your missiles. Eve suddenly swooped down from above and took several shots at her opponent. Each missile Eve launched hit their target clearly. There was a violent explosion and I couldn't see anything through the dust and smoke that had filled the air. Eventually the wind cleared everything away, and to my surprise we could see that the R7038 robot was still standing and it was completely unharmed. As we stood in shock, the robot turned to face us and a laser beam shot from his eyes, and we returned to ash in an instant. Quick load? Yes. Use your laser. Eve! Aim for its head with your lasers! Eve fired her laser, but it missed its target entirely. Without a moment's hesitation, the enemy fired back at her. Our foe's aim was true, and laser blew Eve's right leg clean off. Eve, we cried! But although she had gone into a tailspin for a moment, she soon regained herself again. Wow, this is costing me hit points. The R7038 soon lost interest in the tiny robot flying circles around it. It turned back to us and began stopping its way over. We ran as fast as we could, but it was soon cornered us against a steep cliff. Its massive arm reached out for us. Is this the end, I thought? But suddenly Eve began to grapple with the R7 from behind. Although I'm not sure if grapple with is the right description for it, since the two were so different in size. Clung desperately to might be a better way to phrase it. Is it gonna go Cyberman on, or is Eve gonna go Cyberman on him? But anyway, suddenly Eve called down to us. My friends, please give me the command. Command me to self-destruct. We can't let you do that, Eve. Let go, Eve. Anna sounded heartbroken. Let's see what refusing to give the command does. Without your command, I cannot self-destruct. Quickly, give the command. No way, how could you say such a thing? The enemy scooped us up with a giant hand. As for our fate, well, I think unfortunately it goes without saying. I shut my eyes. They were full of tears. We understood then. Without our command, Eve would not be able to self-destruct. And there was no other way we'd be able to survive. Eve seemed more than willing to die for us. But what cruel fate this was. I couldn't believe we'd have to give the command, her the command to die. Eve, we've only known you for a very short while, but you seem to be more than just a friend to us. We'll never forget you. We'll never forget that you were one of us. And just as the R7 was about to grab us, Eve, I command you to self-destruct. I cried. Yeah, and with that, the R7 got Yamcha'd. Oh no, Yamcha got Yamcha'd! There was a spineless blast. Man, they're making this not be as serious as it should be. Sorry. There was a violent blast that rocked the entire landscape as the powerful explosive device set inside Eve's body went off. The immense shock easily overtook the R7 too. And then there was a series of secondary explosives which were not caused by Eve herself. The Emma robot had begun to self-destruct along with her. After a while, everything fell silent. We opened our eyes. Lay before us were countless mechanical parts and fragments scattered across the ground. But by some miracle, Eve's body remained wholly intact. She had slumped to the ground, her head tilted and drooping. We ran over to her. She was battered and dented, and her eyes no longer had any life in them. Eve, thank you. Anna nuzzled her cheek into Eve's chest. And then that's when we heard it, a strange, sad melody playing from somewhere within Eve's body. It had to be one of the melodies we had been searching for. At that moment, the scenery around us began to glow in so many colors, and it whirled us up along with it. Me and Lloyd looked around in amazement, but Anna continued to sit very still with her face pressed up against Eve's motionless body. Suddenly, I came to my senses, and I noticed that there was a woman standing in front of us. She wore the same white dress and a gentle smile as always. Queen Mary? Anna finally raised her head. Thank you, kind children, the Queen said. I have been beside you your entire journey. My heart was always with you, and thanks to you, my lost time, my lost spirit have been restored. Queen Mary approached us, and she sat herself down on a rock nearby. Her long blonde hair curled at her feet and cascaded across the ground. Please tell us, what kind of creature is Geeg, and why does he have his sights set on our Earth? At that moment, an unmistakably sorrowful shadow passed over the Queen's face. Geeg is my child, but he is a very wicked child. He is different from our real children, as he was born and raised on another planet entirely. Your real children? I must finally tell you everything. My name on this earth was Maria Holloway. Yes, I am the wife of your great-grandfather. I left my home planet and came to this earth, and then I met George, and we soon married, but my body was never suited for life on this planet. And so, leaving our 3 children behind, George and I returned to my home planet. But my great-grandpa came back. Yes, your great-grandpa had certain powers. One of these powers was the ability to see into the future. He knew that our newly born 4th child would return to his father's planet. He knew that this child would unleash an evil energy on this planet in order to make it his own. And he knew that the only ones who could stand against Geeg were the descendants of the 3 children we had left behind. In other words, us. Yes. And the melody he left for you to find. It was a lullaby I always used to sing to Geeg. He was such a precious child, my little Geeg. After Geeg left for your Earth, I followed after him on a ship of my own. My ship was befallen by tragedy. Magicant is a subspace of my own creation. It was a part of the endeavor to keep me safe, as I had lost all my memories. But thanks to you, those memories have been restored. I suppose Geeg has returned to his planet. And so I returned to George's side. Oh, my beloved George. I just want to check. Well... Okay, good. I saved that magic ant. We're gonna... This one. Because as I said, I missed a melody, so I am thinking I'm going to get a bad ending unless I go and get that last one. Queen Mary smiled so sadly once more, and she stood up. Her form was gradually fading. Like the double exposure technique used in movies, she began to disappear. And the rock behind her slowly became more and more visible. There was nothing left behind but the barren, rocky landscape. It's so sad. Well, let's head back home then. We've done everything we set out to do, I guess. I had barely finished speaking when the ground beneath us began to tremble violently, as if there had been an earthquake. The mountain roared. This roar came from the very peak of Mount Itoi, which still lay ahead of us. Those eerie black clouds began to part, and then they began to drift down towards us. Within that pulsing and writhing mass of clouds, little flickers of light were going off here and there like camera flashes. What is that? As the clouds came down before us, a glowing shape began to appear in the middle of it all. We could see a round black form, maybe 2 miles wide, and running all the way around it, like a vein or a vine of ivy, was a giant red stripe. Its smooth, curved bottom reflected the ground below it like a mirror, and every now and then powerful flashes of light burst from it. It's the mothership! It's Geeg's mothership! I guess we weren't going home after all. And suddenly, a dark thought wave burst into my head. It was Geeg's telepathy. I cannot stand the thought that such inferior creatures share the same parents as I. And so, I cannot allow you to live. I came to this planet here for some fun. To have some fun. I came to this planet to perform experiments. And I will not allow the likes of you to interfere. The telepathy was powerful and wicked. We held our heads and fell to our knees, crying out in agony. The dark thought waves seared painfully through our brains. We did our best to fend off this attack with all our psychic and mental defenses. Out of the 3 of us, Anna's resistance was the most effective, but she couldn't do it all on her own. I cried out in despair. Please, give us strength. Then, at just that moment, an image popped into each of our minds. It was an image that came from Anna's memory. A memory of a long time ago when she had lost both her parents in an instant because of a car crash. I was asleep in the back seat of Mama and Papa's car. You know that game? Where you cover someone's eyes from behind them and you make them guess who's there? I was having a dream where I covered my Papa's eyes to see if he could guess that it was me. But Papa was driving at that time. I was playing with him in my dream, but because of my strange powers, I blinded him for real, and then Anna began to scream. No! Please stop this! Anna, don't look. This is just a trick. He's making this all up. But it didn't seem like Anna could hear me. She only clutched her head and shook it back and forth. Okay. Use your psi for protection. I didn't think I could do much good to attack, so I figured it would be best to focus on defense. With that in mind, I spread out a PK shield in an attempt to protect Anna. And this time, Geeg's dark thought waves slipped their way into my brain. An image exploded into my mind. It was from a time when I was 8 years old and had pushed my little sister, Mimi, down the stairs. Because of what I did, Mimi's left leg had been broken. But when I pushed her, I had wanted her to die, didn't I? That's dark. That's right. You tried to kill your sister. You tried to kill her. You wanted her dead. I did my best to endure this. To endure the whirlwind of dark and wicked thoughts, even though I was sure I might lose my mind any second now. Lost 2 psychic points. 48 psychic points left. The thought wave attack died down for a brief moment, and then it came for Lloyd. A single word whirled through his mind. Coward. Lloyd was crying. The truth is, I never wanted to get myself involved in this fight. That's why I let myself fall under the spell of the Onyx Hook. That's why I let myself become a Saint Bernard. Because I was scared. I was too scared to fight awful creatures and monsters. Lloyd had a vision of all his classmates, even his parents, calling him a coward. You're a coward. You're a coward. Nothing but a coward. A coward. Lloyd got to his feet. With tears still streaming down his face, he tried to run off. To who knows where, but I caught him and held him as tight as I could. Sigh for protection. This was no time for attacks. That would do no good anyway. I continued to hold up the psychic barrier, desperate to keep the two of them safe. 3 psychic points, 45. And then... Suddenly, Geek's powers began to weaken. Shaking my head clear, I turned to face him. Anna got to her feet not too long after, and then, panting heavily, Lloyd stood up too. What's going on? Maybe he used up too much of his energy, although that would be surprising. Anna suddenly turned to me. Doug, those melodies. Geek's lullaby. We knew we couldn't keep singing until the end, even though it was the only thing we had left. Suddenly, a bright light flashed from the mothership. A high-voltage pulse of energy surged right through us. I was certain we'd be charred to ash, and our journey ended right then and there. Yeah. It's not clear, but I'm pretty sure the fact I'm missing the second melody is the reason I got a game over. So... That sucks because that was a lot of progress. But... I know what I have to do. I just need to figure out how to get to them. And do I want to keep going? Because I only got a half hour, and I think it's going to take me more than a half hour to get there. I'm going to call it a night. Basically, I know I'm near endgame, so I'll finish it up next week. So, we're going to go to trivia, and then we're calling it. Okay, for the trivia, Star Trek Enterprise was canceled after 4 seasons due to low ratings. Actually, I'm going to see what happens if I click continue. That's not what I wanted to shut off. It just took me back to the title screen. Okay. Star Trek Enterprise was canceled after 4 seasons due to low ratings, despite the final season being considered a huge improvement. A potential 5th season would have seen the appearance of a feline alien race that was introduced in the original animated series. The episode this race was introduced in was actually an adaptation of a short story that was part of a larger literary universe. What is the name of this race? Okay, Friday, I will I will continue Elite Force 2. Sunday, might be continuing Kirby's Dream Land 3 with Jake and Ari, and I'll be doing more Sonic Battle on the following Monday, and then I'll finish this up next Wednesday. And then once I finish this up, I will be jumping back to Mother Encore and doing Act 2. Kind of was tempted to start over, but I think I'll just continue. Maybe I'll do the... You know what? If the game ever gets completed, and I'm still streaming, I'll do a full playthrough from Act 1 all the way to the end. So I don't know how many acts it's going to be. I imagine 4 or 5, because in the grand scheme of things, Earthbound Beginnings is not a very long game. It's just long because of the difficulty. It seems long because of the difficulty. So, anyways, with that said, this has been your captain speaking. You're now free to disembark.